Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another video. We've got the first division predictions show today. This is the season predictions. We've got Keith Ryan, or Ian Ryan's Green and White Army, and Sean Lean today. Guys, what's up? Jesus.
We're going grand.
God save us. That'll be all right until week 3. Going grand, all right. So I'm going to go through the table. The two of you have picked your own table. So from 10th to 1st, and I'll start off with 10th. First up, we'll start with Keith. Who have you gone for 10th in the league?
I think the new boys are 10th, Keith. I think Kerry. I mean, no disrespect to them, but they seem to be signing a lot of young lads and some local talent as well. So, I mean, first year in the league, I mean, they'll be looking to kind of get their feet into the ground, and I think they'll be looking to get a feel for the league. You know, although the Kerry District League, there's quality in itself, and the facilities down there are good, but I don't think they'll do anything. I don't think they'll be as a surprise as Treaty were in their first season.
They're under no pressure though, Keith, to do anything really, are they?
Not really, no. And look, their head coach or manager, Billy Dennehy, he's been there, done that. So he'll offer the experience for the young lads, and he'll tell them what's what and stuff like that. So, but yeah, under absolute no pressure. If they finish last, if they finish outside the playoff, they finish 8th, whatever. They'll see it as a successful season, given that they've actually joined the league.
Sean, who have you gone for 10th?
I've gone for Athlone in 10th, only because they haven't assembled their squad yet. Not really sure who they're going to get in. They've lost a few key players, Thomas Alua, chief among them, and they've weakened in that sense.
I think the one thing they've done is bring in Adam Lennon, who was obviously on loan, but he's come in now. But you're right. They seem to be very slow in assembling the squad again this year. Yeah,
and it did kill them last season. And obviously, there's other things as well. But it could change. I mean, if they do bring in a couple of surprising signings, it could change. But I just don't see who those signings are going to be.
Yeah. Keith, 9th place, who have you gone for?
I've actually gone for Athlone 9th. I echo what Sean said. They've lost a couple of key players, but you're right. Adam Lennon coming back in. He done well for them after being on loan from UCD last season, and it was probably key that they hung on to Ed Minogue as well. I think when he came into the side later on the season last year, kept a couple of clean sheets, and look, Enda's a young keeper. He's an up and coming keeper, and it was key to hang on to him. Athlone are every season, you just don't know what you're going to get with Athlone from one season to the other. So we'll see what additional signings they bring in. But those are the two key players for them.
Yeah, absolutely. 8th place, who are we gone for? Sean?
Well, in 9th.
Sorry, you're gone for 9th. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, 9th.
I went for Kerry actually. So reverse. I would echo what Keith said, that there's really anything other than a 10th place finish would be like a bonus for Kerry. But I do think at the present moment they have more about them than Athlone. The lack of experience is going to kill them when they come up against a lot of the teams, and they've admitted as much in press conferences that they've given. They do have a few decent signings. There was pivotal that they got Matt Keane in and Sean McGrath, and they have a couple of players like I think Sean Kennedy is his name. He was over in Sunderland. So they have a couple of talented young players as well. The lack of experience and lack of expectation as well, I think, will probably mean that anything, if they can even get like say 6 wins, and you might get lucky in the cup, you might draw say a non-league team at home and get through around in the cup. That would be a really great season for Kerry. So it's not a great deal of expectation, but I think they're capable of bringing 1 or 2 surprises.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see how they get on, to be fair. Like, if they can be competitive in general as well. 8th place, Keith.
I've gone for Cove Ramblers. Look, they've signed a good few, a number of players that will add quality to their squad. Jack Doherty, namely, and Wilson Wawera, who's come on loan from Galway. So they'll be hoping he scores a couple of goals for them this season. They have hung on to a couple of players like Abbott and Hegarty as well. So which is good, and it kind of like Shane Keegan was starting to build something last season. Towards the end of it, they won the Munster Senior Cup against Cork as well. So was fantastic. But he'll be looking to kick on here. I'll be honest with you, Keith. Like between 8th and probably 4th or 5th, there's not a lot between the sides.
I think Cove has definitely strengthened, haven't they, Keith? Like Callum Stringer's coming in loan from Waterford, who's a good young player as well. Cian Brown, Lee Stacey, Charlie Lyons is back as well. So they've definitely strengthened, haven't they?
They definitely have. There must be a few bob around, but the other thing with that, Keith, is other teams have strengthened as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like they're catching up to catch up. If you know what I mean. So as I said, it's going to be so tight between 8th and 4th. I think it'll be a little mini league. There'll be the front 2, who we'll get on to later, the bottom 2, and then the mini league looking for the playoffs. So,
Sean, who have you gone for in 8th place finally?
It's kind of, as Keith said, it's very tough to pick, and the team that finishes 8th sounds very obviously very disappointing to finish 8th, but there could be a matter of 3 or 4 points between 8th and 4th. I think on the balance of it, you'd have to go. I'd agree with Keith that Cove are favourites to finish 8th. But of the teams in the first division that I would predict, I would be least surprised if Cove finished above the place I predicted to finish in. I think it's just a matter of the other teams have gotten stronger around them. But to be fair, Shane Keegan does seem to have a plan which wasn't there in previous seasons. Cove always signed, say, the best players in the Munster Senior League, and the step up was a bit too much. But the players that we know about at Waterford, like Callum Stringer and Cian Brown, are going to be huge additions. And it was very impressive for them to get Wilson Waweru from Galway as well. Jack Doherty, I would have taken Jack Doherty here at Waterford. So, they've made some very impressive signings, and they could very easily finish higher than 8th. But it's just if you're on the spot making a prediction, you'd have to say that on paper they're a bit weaker than the rest.
7th place, Keith.
This is going to surprise a lot of people. I've gone for Finn Harps in 7th. Look, they're down from the Premier. They've lost a couple of players, namely Barry McNamee, who's a fantastic player for them. They're on a rebuild job. Obviously, they've had a lot of years of Ollie Horgan football. Dave Rogers has come in from Nottingham Forest, and he's looking to build something. But he'll soon realise that the first division, it's no easy trek. Look at Galway. They've been down here a couple of years. Bray are struggling to get out of the division as well. You could say the same for Waterford. So, look, they've signed Keith Cowan, which is he'll add experience to the squad, and he'll have to bring the young players on. And Shane's not going to be happy. I think 7th for Finn Harps.
John, who are you going for in 7th place?
I'm actually going to go for Longford. To be honest, I think they're. I think there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype around them at the moment because Stephen Henderson's committee's brought in a number of exciting young players into the team, but there's a few signings there that I'd really question. The likes of Derek Daly and James Duna. I think, definitely not players I would have in a team that was pushing for promotion. I think there's obviously a lot of the players that were important to the success they had last season are gone. Cian Corbarry went back to Pats. Aaron, they had so many Aarons, but one of them went to Wexford anyway.
Robinson,
and a lot of players actually. It's not just him went to Wexford. I think just the amount of change that's happened at Longford. I could very well be wrong. They still held on to Sam Verdon and Shane Elworthy. Couple of decent
good
players.
Signs as well, Sean. I would say mix in there. Stephen Meany, obviously back from Australia, is a good player. Darragh Lynch, if he can stay fit, is a good player as well. Ross Fay from Pats has come in, who's a handy enough player. So there's a couple of players there as well. But I agree with you, it's a mixed bag kind of a thing. Yeah,
and as I said with Cove, this is really the part of the table that's the most difficult to predict. But on the spot right now, I think I'd have to put Longford there. I just haven't been as impressed by any one signing. Maybe that fella, that Serdeniuk, or Seredniuk, whatever he is, the Ukrainian.
Rovers there for a little while, yeah.
He didn't really get a chance to show his stuff there. Maybe he could be a gem for them.
Could be. 6th place, Keith.
I think probably it's the first year that Treaty finished outside the playoffs. I've gone for them. Again, they've signed back a couple of players, but they've also lost some key players to emigration and stuff like that. One of their big re-signings, obviously, is Enda Curran, who done so well for them last season.
Yeah.
Mark Ludden signed back for them. Mark, I think, has gone into his 39th year on this planet. So, look, he offers the experience as well. Again, like, people are going to think and say, well, they're not going to
be punching again if they finish sixth, though, wouldn't they, in a way? Considering we're saying how other teams have strengthened.
Such a tough league, though. We keep going back to it. Like Stephen Christopher as well, who's been there around the league. Willie Armshaw, who has done good for Treaty at times. A lot of the time he's come off the bench, but like one of the lads I know, Jason Shanahan, he always reminds me that Bray have never beaten Treaty, or they've beaten Treaty once in, I think it's 8 games or something like that since they joined the league. So, but yeah, so tough to balance it. But Treaty for me in 6th.
Sean, 6th.
I'd agree with Keith. Actually, I think Treaty are favourites to finish 6th. I don't like saying it because I think Treaty are really impressive. I'm a big fan of Tommy Barrett. Gave him manager of the season, in my opinion, last season. But the resources, they don't have as much as other clubs, and it's starting to show. They lost Callum McNamara to Galway there, and lost a few players. Jack Lynch was one of them too. Yeah. And it's they did add a few players. They had Conor Barry and Ryan Connolly. I think they were 2 good signings. But overall, I think they've really overperformed for the 2 years that they've been in the league, and this, I think, is the year where they miss out in the playoffs for the first time.
Keith, speaking about the playoffs, who's finishing 5th?
I've gone for Longford in 5th. Again, it'll probably surprise a few, but like Stephen Henderson, they brought him in. He's been there with Cove, he knows the league, and they've brought in Darragh Lynch, who I know a lot about, and they'll be looking to Darragh to score some goals. But Sean is right. James Duna and Derek Daly, I like Derek Daly at Bray, I have to say, but James Duna has been around the league. He's been at a couple of teams. You know him from Pats, obviously, and he was at Cork and he was at Athlone, and just didn't work out for him. But again, they'll be hoping that James can kick on, and they've retained the 2 Verdens as well, which is key. And I think Jack Brady is their goalkeeper, is it? I think so.
Jack Brady was brought in, yeah.
He's a good signing. So Longford, the thing with Longford is that they need to get the local crowd behind them. A lot of their games last season, you could see visibly there wasn't a lot of people at the games.
Which is disappointing when crowds are up practically everywhere else,
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know, it's because it's outside the town on Strokestown Road or whatever, but they've a nice little set up there, and if they got a crowd behind them, it might kick the players on a little bit. So but yeah, Longford for the playoffs. Disappointing.
The GA team are struggling at the moment, so they might get a bigger crowd next year at the soccer games.
Yeah.
Longford ever been good, right? Or the GA?
No, never good, but they're doing particularly bad at the moment.
So that's my 5th.
That's your 5th. Sean, your 5th.
I'm going for Harps to finish 5th, just barely edge it into the playoffs. I think Dave Rogers is a huge reason why I'd have this. It's going to be very interesting because it's the first season without Ollie, and he's just been sort of a pivotal part of the Harps identity for a while. They've made some very impressive signings. All right, Keith Cowan, I think, was probably the most impressive. I'm very interested to see how Philip da Silva gets on. It's very interesting to have a Brazilian in the first division. Everybody assumes, I think, because he's Brazilian, that he's going to be great, but sure, he could be anything really.
Look, I've played 9 asides before with Brazilians, and they've been the worst players on the pitch. So,
but I suppose, like a few other teams, the squad isn't fully assembled yet. There's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes. But I think that Dave Rogers, I've been very impressed with what he has done so far, and I think that if it does continue, then Harps could have an impressive season. Maybe not enough to get up on the first time of asking, but definitely enough to push teams whenever they play.
I think the two Derry lads that got in on loan, Creevin Porter, who I was impressed with every time he played for Derry, is just the strength and depth of Derry, and Dahi McCallion are actually good signs for them, to be honest with you. Keith, on to where we fourth, yeah.
Fourth, I've gone for ourselves.
Who's that?
I think. Who's that?
Oh no, I asked for that, didn't I? See your brother.
I think that's. No, me dad. He'll be my adopted dad if he gets us up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think. Look, we've made some good signings. It looks like we've signed half of Wexford, in fairness.
Yeah.
And people will laugh, oh well, Wexford only finished a couple of points ahead of his last season, blah blah blah. But like Chris Lyons has come in from Drogheda.
Mix of youth and experience, Keith. Good mix of youth and experience. Webster and Massey, like.
Yeah. That's what I like about it. There's a lot of youth and experience, you know. As I said, Massey's coming from Drogheda. Dave Webster's coming from Harps. Unfortunately, Dave won't be fit until probably April. But he's club captain. He was announced club captain yesterday. So, and as I already said, Chris Lyons will be hoping to get into double figures this season for Bray, and we'll be looking to him. Some of the players that probably people don't know a lot about, Jake Walker obviously has come in, and Ger Short has come in from Wexford as well. So,
Luka Lovic that's a good signing. Luka
Lovic, great signing. Yeah. Crowley from Wexford as well is a fantastic signing. Connor Davis, again from Wexford, another good signing. So if the players that were retained, the likes of Callum Thompson and a couple of others, if they can click with the players that they have brought in, it's gonna be a reasonably good season. I don't think Ian Ryan's gonna be looking anywhere near the top. I mean, a playoff spot would suffice definitely this season.
John, fourth place?
I went for Galway in fourth place. I think I said Cove were the team that I would be least surprised if they finished above the place I predicted them to finish. I'd be least surprised if Galway were the team that finished below the place I predicted them to finish. As far as the squad goes, I think Galway, they've sort of got a squad that's about as good as what they had last year. In my opinion, added Darren Clark from Longford and Callum McNamara from Treaty. I think two good signings.
Brendan Clark as well should give them good experience there as well.
And but other than that, I think it's pretty much the same as last year. And I think
it got worse as last year went on as well. So that's going to be an interesting facet.
That's where my concern is. When Alex Murphy left in the middle of last season, the season kind of derailed. And what I was very surprised that John Caulfield was allowed to stay on as Galway manager. I thought, money's obviously not an issue there. So I thought, surely you'd get rid of him. Fair enough holding on to him for the end of the season. You think you get a playoff push, you might get lucky. And then they brought in Ollie Horgan as assistant manager. Now, I'd be very surprised if some sort of negativity, singularity doesn't open up inside the Finn Harps.
It's a weird dynamic because they're both what you would call managers. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Very weird dynamic.
I'd be very surprised if it doesn't end in a bust-up. Or if it doesn't end in spectacular fashion with one of them walking.
And also the type of football that Galway are more likely to play.
I mean, it's going to be the most. I don't know how you could be any more negative. The pitch is just going to be like one small strip. As Brian Clough said about Wimbledon one time, he said they don't need a referee; they just need two linesmen and an air traffic control ward. That's all they're going to need to watch.
He was brilliant, though, wasn't he?
It's very good. I think. But I do think, look, the resources Galway have are the reason they're going to finish in the playoffs. It's really, it could happen that they miss the playoffs entirely, but I think it would be pretty much unthinkable if that did happen.
I think it never got to that point where it looked like there could be, there'd be changes anyway, and that might have a good impact. I don't know, But Keith, third place.
Third, I've gone for Wexford. Fantastic recruitment from Wexford this season, I think. Ethan Boyle has come in from Harps, and he's gone a captain side this season. The two Levinson brothers are going to be fantastic for them.
I mean, Connor
UW
played an awful lot of games for Bohemian, started in
Bohemian,
the division last year. So that's some
absolutely.
signing in that scenario.
A very, very strange signing.
Yeah.
In the context that he seems like a Premier Division player, and he's dropped down. He's dropped down division. Aaron Robinson already. Sean has mentioned Aaron Robinson. Hanratty performed quite well for Longford last season, and Ben Lynch as well. So look,
interestingly, but Danny Furlong coming back was interesting as well, isn't it? And Adiemo as well. Adiemo could be a key player as well.
Adiemo's going to be a very key player. And yeah, Danny Furlong, I mean, he's been out of the league a couple of years, but he knows the league and he's done it for Wexford before. And I know he scored the other night in a pre-season against Dundalk at Oriel Park. So, look, I think Wexford are going to be the nearest threat to the top two this season. And James Keddy, do you know what? James Keddy is a weird one because when he was with Bray, he was very quiet. Young man, young man, he's older than me, but he's very quiet. But I know a lot of people have said James Keddy's one of the best coaches that they've had. So it'd be interesting to see how he progresses as a manager. But yeah, no, Wexford are going to be, and Sean will be, it's not a great first game for Waterford to be going to Wexford.
Interesting first game, but anyway. Sean, who have you gone for in third place?
I went for Bray in third place. I think Keith has mentioned pretty much everything there is to mention about Bray. I think the recruitment has been very good. It was done very early as well. I think, but majority of it was done late last year. So the squad has been together 1 or 2 months at this stage. I think the mix of youth and experience is very important. Ian Ryan is working with players that he knows from his time at Wexford, and Wexford were still impressive towards the end of last season. They didn't pick up the results that they needed to, and I think that was down to the lack of experience. So hopefully players like Dave Webster, Dane Massey, Chris Lyons, they'll solve that problem. I suppose the only risk that you'd worry about is if you were a Bray fan is that the off-the-field stuff from last season would come back to bite you again. Now, hopefully that's all behind them, and the club and the fans can be working together as one, because they've got a serious chance of going up this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Second place, Keith. Who's going to be runners-up? And
just
probably not get promotion.
Just on Bray, despite all the rumours, David McMillan has not signed for the club. Second, I went for Galway. I think Tallfield has to go up this season. Sean's right. If he doesn't go up this season, it's curtains. I think. I mean, money is no obstacle at Galway, and they can bring anyone they want in. Ollie Horgan is a really, really strange one. You are dead right. Ollie Horgan and Caulfield working together now could work out a treat, but I can see.
The only thing is, I will say there quickly, they'll share similar philosophies, we'll say.
But you see, the thing is, Ollie Horgan,
they're hands-on. They're both hands-on as actual managers. How will Ollie Horgan do the job? And I can't see naturally, holding back a little bit.
Yeah, but Hegarty was with Horgan as well at Finn Harps. So, and they were like, they were like the same person.
Like two Jack Russells in a room,
Yeah, poor old Finn Harps had no manager on the bench most weeks, like they were sent off or whatever. But look, Galway. What's that?
The two of them as well at one time type thing. Oh, brilliant.
Galway, look, they retained some top performers from 2022. Yeah. Conor McCormick's stage, They brought in Keith Clark, Brendan Clark, and Darren Clark. Darren Clark's going to be, I think, one of the surprises of the season.
Yeah.
In terms of quality, I think we didn't see a lot of him at Longford. He had bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, Galway, they've just missed out, obviously, the last couple of seasons. I think it's win or bust for them this season.
Yeah, I think so. Is that second place for you, Sean?
I went for Wexford.
Wexford.
I went for Wexford, and I kind of surprised myself with this one. I didn't really know who was going to finish second. When I looked into it, Wexford are very impressive this year. They've got a lot of the players that were important to Longford's success last season. Jordan Adiemo in particular, I think, is going to be a huge player for them. I'm not really sure how Danny Furlong would get on for them. He was certainly.
I can't see him being a starter, but his experience could be crucial in the dressing room and stuff, and you'll get games.
and he did generate a lot of hype. Maybe it's a matter of supporters will know Danny Furlong's name, and that might be something to do with it. They brought in as well Aaron Doran, who was with Bows last season, won the under-19 league. I think he could be a standout. Could have a breakout season this season. They've got the two Livingstons as well.
And even Len O'Sullivan, I don't think Keith mentioned him, Len O'Sullivan. It's hard to pick out a signing that wasn't a good signing on paper.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And Ethan Boyle as well. I mean, huge signing. Thought we might go for him actually, but for Wexford to have him, he's going to be huge for them. It's definitely a tough game for us to start the season with going away to Wexford. But, I suppose the only thing is that, you're starting off with your toughest game. You kind of, these are the games you want to play. You want to test yourself always. And I think Wexford will offer that.
Champions, Keith. Is it hard to pick anyone else?
Well, there's only one team left, isn't it, that we haven't mentioned?
People might have guessed at this point.
I don't think anyone's getting anywhere near Waterford. I really don't.
If they start well, I think they could run away with it, to be honest. If they start well,
Despite losing the two lads, I think they really messed up last season. They should have beaten UCD in the playoff, and Sean knows that. I mean, it was how it didn't happen, but Waterford they're definitely favourites. The bookies have them favourites. Great signing. I think Alua is going to be a great signing for them. Will he replace Patterson's goals? Maybe not as many, but he definitely will get into double figures. Obviously, Wasim is going to be crucial for them. And at the back, Killian Cantwell, they've retained as well. And, they went off to Dubai pre-season. I only mentioned it in the group earlier, 1,000 season tickets sold this season, which is fantastic. So they have the community and they have the city of Waterford behind them. So I think there's only one champion this season. It's going to be Waterford United or Waterford FC.
Sean.
I go for Waterford United as well. I think... I suppose there's a few negative points I'm going to make just for the sake of making them. So first of all, there was I think Danny Searle does have a few things to prove this season. I think there was poor judgment in crucial games last season that cost us. There didn't appear to be a plan in either the semi-final in the Cup against Shelbourne or the playoff final against UCD. Even the First Division playoff final against Galway, it was down to mistakes that Galway made.
Individual talent from the likes of Junior and that on the day. But as well as that, I think with Cyril as well, actually, Waterford didn't start well. I think he's under pressure on immediately.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you don't want to curse the team by saying this is because I was confident we would go up last season as well. But I think the expectations the expectation of the board has to be that we're going to go up this season. And I think even though the squad is currently a bit light, especially with losing Junior, that was unexpected. You'd hope that a few more players would come in. But even then, what's there right now is very good in terms of quality.
I think Sean, the Fleetwood guys who came in are supposed to be good. Chris Clark is rated highly. Dean McNamee's come in and he's rated as well. So Connor Parsons, and that kind of thing. So Matthew Connor's back, but Giles Phillips. But I think they've taken advantage of the Fleetwood connection there as well. So I won't be surprised if one or two of them do very well this season for them.
Exactly. And I mean, Junior is another facet of that. Like, he's gone to Fleetwood. I mean, if the plan is, he was interviewed, the plan is that he's going to come back in June, hopefully when all the visa issues are sorted out. Now, if that was another year, we would have lost him and we would never have seen him back. So, that's another thing to consider as well. Connor Parsons has a YouTube channel. I don't know how many, it's like 100,000 subscribers. So hopefully that'll get us a bit of publicity, maybe a few overseas fans. There's always that. I think the preseason in Dubai, there's certainly a few people questioning it because, look, there's legitimate concerns about, does it make sense to go off do warm weather training when you're going to be in like Donegal and Longford and places like that?
Bray, you forgot about the Carlisle. Cold as
That
anywhere.
was
Brave,
rain
no.
one days, didn't it?
Yeah, Bray would be normally like in the summer anyway, so be good preparation. And but I think it's a good team building exercise as well. And I think hopefully there's always a good togetherness about Waterford squads, and hopefully that'll continue into this season. Thomas Lua, I think, as Keith mentioned, is probably the standout signing. We're definitely the board did mention that they were looking to improve on our attacking options for this season. From last season, they did that. We are a bit light at the back. I especially like to see us bring in an experienced midfielder in the vein of Anthony Wordsworth, and a replacement for Alex Baptiste, and another defender as well. But other than that, I think really we should be aiming to win the league.
Yeah, brilliant stuff, guys. That was excellent. So Waterford FC, guys, are going to win the league. Just in case you think we were being serious, we're joking about Waterford United. Sean actually supports Waterford, so he knows this. So thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Let us know your predictions in the comments as well. Thanks very much. Brilliant, guys. Thanks.